is not yet nigh. I shall purify the souls of their filth. What a hungry thing the blade is.
You, like me if I'm honest, probably have no idea what you just witnessed, but more than likely think it looks pretty damn cool. And it does, because it is. Welcome to Naraka Bladepoint. I imagine a lot of you may have heard of this game. It caused quite the stir, and for good reasons. It's a very slick, well-made, satisfying fantasy Clash Melee-esque classic battle royale gather, the map gets shorter and shorter, last person standing. I have never been a huge fan of those types of games in general when they focus on, the classic gun type setup, the sort of modern military aesthetic that a lot of them have. Even something quirky like Fortnite still is kind of, gunny, and it's never really, for me, whereas Melee, blades, for example in Bladepoint, that's where it's at. Satisfying counter melee combat that really lets you properly have a death battle that isn't getting sniped from 87 miles away by a guy you had no way of seeing. So I have been having a lot of fun with this, and I've been playing it because, well, Naraka have kindly sponsored this video and invited me to give it a go, and thus, here I am. We don't do these types of videos very often, but when we do, well, it's something that is genuinely a lot of fun. And indeed, you can play now on Xbox on console for the first time, which is another surge of players to join the glorious battle to the death. The character roster, by the way, is really fun. Like, a lot of the characters, have a couple reasons you might want to play them, but in general, the abilities that they have, the aesthetic, the voice lines that are delivered by each of them, they are very chatty, and it is very neat hearing them comment on everything that happens. It adds a little bit of nice flavor.
A choice is merely a question, and I am always the answer.
But there is quite the roster to choose from. And indeed, the newest character is Takeda Nobutada, who is all about demons and has quite the explosive ultimate. Basically, there's a lot more going on here that meets the eye. And another really neat little feature that I kind of want to focus on that I've not really seen any other, well, choose this character, you play as this character, this preset character type games do, is you can actually customize them in the sense that you can change their features as if they were like an MMO character you were creating. And that is really, really awesome. And it's not just generic, like, preset different face structures. No, you can actually, if we go over to here, properly edit them and do a full-on individual look. Which is really neat because it helps the fact that even if you see someone else running around as you still have a slightly unique look compared to them, and it lets you feel just that much more connected to your chosen favorite character, and I am a big fan of that. All of the weapons you find on the map, you pick them up. I, of course, quite favor the greatsword, but the character matters in terms of, obviously, the aesthetic, but also mainly the abilities that it does. Who I was playing as hovers in the air, summons this big purple, like, ghost sword, and absolutely annihilates people with it back to back, and it felt fantastic to use. But before we get too far into, a round of Bladepoint, here's a few little pointers on how actually to operate in this brutal world. It's been out for a year now, and there are 4 main movement-focused tips I would like to convey that help you actually get up to speed. The first of which is dodging, and chiefly there is 2 main ways to dodge. You have a quick dodge, you tap the key, you head in a direction, and, well, hopefully you've just avoided a sword from repeatedly impaling you. Then there is a regular dodge if you hold the dodge key, which gives you a little sprint at the end. This one is quite good because you can obviously weave between enemy attacks, open yourself up to counter them, and you leave behind this little after image which looks really cool and gain some iframes, which means you're essentially invincible. And essentially you want to be timing these dodges when an enemy is committed to a long animation attack like the slow charge up blue glow attacks, and then you can get behind them and punish them while they're still committed to swinging at the air you used to occupy, which is really neat. It's very fast paced, and once you kind of click with it, it really works. Then we have countering, because of course we do, we're flinging melee weapons at each other. This is quite the tight timing, but if you master it, you end up being very potent. So essentially, the best way is to stare at the enemy and see their blue kind of glowy focus, and just before they attack, there is a white glow. This implies that they have released their attack button, and now they are committed to what they're doing. So now you hit the counter button, and they will clash with your counter, which then lets you retaliate with your counter attack. The only downside is, of course, you can't counter while you're also yourself attacking. You have to wait for your attack animation to finish, so if you're getting a little bit too greedy, you might end up getting punished and walloped for it. So if you feel like you're going to need to counter, you want to interrupt your own attack just before you actually commit to your attack so you can then counter the enemy's oncoming onslaught. Then we have ourselves the Grappling Hook, which is really fun because obviously you can get around very quickly, but it also does a few other little neat tricks that really help spice up the pace of combat. Obviously you can use it to climb, just point it at a surface, fire and get pulled towards it, and that's all great, but you can also target an enemy, zip to them, which will give them a stagger, and then you can follow up with an attack. The downside here is that if they're charging up a focus attack, they're immune to the stagger, so you'll zip on over, and now you'll be at their mercy to release it as you recover from said zip. So you really need to pay attention to what the enemy is actually doing, what kind of attack they're building, are they waiting passively, are they charging, and time that grappling hook to perfection. If you accidentally find yourself committed to a charging enemy, you can cancel your grapple with the S and spacebar, which at least lets you not put yourself right into the path of their sword, and then you can whip out a ranged weapon and start pew-pewing them as they waste time continuing to charge the attack that was waiting for you. Obviously, you can also deliberately do this, get a bit close to the grapple, then cancel, then start shooting them, with never having the intention to actually fully go all the way and connect. Then we have ourselves slide charging. Charging while running triggers a lot more than just the blue focus. You will also get a little kind of jump, little slide a short distance, which of course helps surprise people, cover a gap. So with focus making you into grappling hook, dodging letting you cancel out of your charged attacks, well, if you slide charge, you don't actually end up getting hooked, and you still get to be moving. So what you're going to be doing is charging an attack whilst running, then once you reach your blue focus, keep holding it down, and then dodge to cancel the charge and keep running. And then you want to release and quickly press the mouse button again, and then you'll be slide charging like nobody's business. And essentially, you just get a lot of ground very quickly and can really up the aggression. So back to my actual round that I played then. Yeah, it really was a lot of fun. Now, most, if not all of these enemies are bots, as when you first start, it puts you with AI and slowly filters in real players, so you don't just get stomped by people that have been playing forever, which is honestly really nice. You get a feel for it, and you have that classic loop, you know? You want to search around the place, get your loot, get your passive benefits, get your armor, find heals, find armor repairs, and indeed weapons do break, and you have to repair them, and if they break mid-combat, you're going to have to switch to something else, because the opponent is probably not going to let you just sit there and repair your weapon. You've got your skills to manage, you've got the shrinking areas, you've got the beautiful map to explore. Visually, the game really is quite pretty. It's a very nice, densely packed map. There's quite a few different biomes going on, and being able to use the terrain so much as you fight is really satisfying. There's a lot of ranged options, a lot of melee options, a lot of distance covering options, a lot of parkour and jumping, and it just feels very active between all the the characters clashing, and even just the sound aside of the blades slamming against each other is really, really cool. And again, while it is AI, I did feel very much like a god as I slotted through everyone this first little go at everything. I really kind of want to give it another go as a few of the characters. I mean, there is a pirate, which of course, you know, I'm very much into the idea of, so that is very exciting, and it's definitely something that I want to be giving a bit more of my time to, because I really love good, satisfying melee combat in a PvP environment, and this very much does have it. Even the tutorial where you first get to grips with everything that's going on is quite well done. It's a little bit cheesy, but it's got a neat little bit of story to it, and it's just a really good world of a really good system and a really good excuse why all of these high fantasy characters are murdering the ever-living daylights out of each other with a series of melee weaponry that makes you just feel like an absolute god when you nail the skill. In any case then, that is Naraka Bladepoint. Once again, a huge thank you to them for sponsoring this video, and as I alluded to at the beginning, you can, well, play now on Xbox and Xbox Game Pass, this game on console, and a whole other world of killing to be done. In any case then, like if you've enjoyed this, subscribe and hit the bell for more, and until we meet again, a goodbye.
Go here.
Not yet. May the pain remind you of what else I can do. What a hungry thing the grave is.
I shall purify the souls of their filth.
When one is a Shikigami, one learns patience. Why do they challenge me? It never ends well for them.
The shadow will shortly begin to spread.
What a hungry thing the grave is.
The shadow thickens.
You should guard your thoughts better.
I shall purify the souls of their filth.
When one is a Shikigami, one learns patience.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.